Okay, that happened again. Listen, if this stream knock off, then I am done for tonight because I will not be trying to, continuously trying to stream and keep on having issues about it. 1 second, let me check how my volume sound right quick. Hello. Keep on having issues about it. It sounds really good. How my volume sound? It sounds great. Yeah, that's crazy. Would it be like that? Um, okay, that's wild. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not meant for me to stream, but working. 1 second. Listen. 1 second. Oh no. I mean, I'm feeling like it's not meant for me to do the stream because my phone not working the volume. What? Hmm. Oh, okay then. That is something. Hmm. Anyways, let's see if I can jump back into it. All right, I think everything is working good right now. So I'm gonna try one more time to do my live stream to act up. I'm done for tonight. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Now, I was talking about faith-based biblical submission versus manipulation, which is self-serving. I mean, which is a self ideology. Because 1 second. Because there's different kinds of people out here in this world, and everybody operate differently according to, sometimes it's according to what their faith, their belief system. It could be according to what they went through in life. Everybody's operating differently. And love, the definition of love is different for everybody. So when somebody say, I love you, you got to ask them to define that definition for you. Because everybody is not a universal, it's not a universal definition. Unfortunately, when people say I love you, it could mean I love you unless I love you if you willing to do this and do this for me. I love you if you see what I'm saying. So yeah, the definition of love is not universal. It means different things for different folks, different strokes for different folks. Okay. I hope my music not too loud. Let me turn it down a bit. Oh, I made a mistake and clicked it off. So, but so before we get into serious happenings with people, we should always remember we have to ask a person to define what loves mean to them, to define what family means to them. Because some people live according to their needs first, not my wife or children, or not my husband and children. It's about their needs, period. You see, so we got to talk it out with each other, what we expect from each other. Because a lot of this relationship stuff is not universal definitions. Love is not a universal definition, even though people might think it is. No, love don't mean the same thing to everybody. Family don't mean the same thing to everybody. Okay, commitment doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. Marriage doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. Some men actually think that they can have side pieces while they married. Some think they shouldn't. You got to talk it out and see where it's at. Put everything on the table before you can build. Honesty is the best policy. So I was talking about that. And as I was talking about that, the topic of me questioning when did men get disrespectful to women, foundational Black American women in particular. When did our men become disrespectful to us? At what point? Because when I examine the civil rights movement with MLK, the very people that authored the civil rights movement was foundational Black American women. And they needed a representation because our women was not allowed to represent themselves. They were not allowed to lead. They respected our men and allowed our men to lead. So they would not come out. It was so many foundational Black American women that was in the background with these grassroots movements they were starting. And they needed men to represent the movement, to be the speaker, the face of the movement. Now they asked the many reverends, because back in the days to be a reverend was a very good thing in a community. Respected title in a community. There was many of them. They were godly men. And so Martin Luther King was asked to do it. A few of them was asked to do it, but Martin Luther King was asked, and he was like, no, but then he turned back and he told them he would become their representation. And that's how he became the face in the movement of civil rights. But it was authored by foundational Black American women. Like a lot of our movements was authored by foundational Black American. Okay, I made a mistake. My hand hit the phone again, and I need to see if I'm live. Let's see. Um, Again. Oh, and I need to their representation. And that's how he became the face expert. Oh my gosh, I'm still alive. Okay. My hand hit the phone. Again. Oh, I gotta take a pause a second. I almost made a mistake and ended the stream again. My hand hit the phone, but it popped me out of the stream, and I was able to enter back into the studio. Oh my gosh. I would have closed it down and been like, I'm done for tonight. I'm done. Okay, back to what I was saying. Mm-mm. back to what I was saying. So I wanted to find out, when did foundational Black American men get to the point of disrespecting foundational Black American women? And I was walking through the movements of history, our civil rights movement, a lot of our grassroots organizations and movements, the Black Panther movement. When I examine these movements, a lot of foundational Black American women, I know I say this, I'm just repeating so I can get back to where I was. A lot of foundational Black American women were the authors of these movements, and they went and sought out foundational Black American men to represent the movement, because sisters were in the background and they wanted to stay in the background and not take the lead from foundational Black American men. They were respectful to their men. So they sought out men to be the face and representation of their organizations and movements and grassroots movements, like civil rights movements and so forth. They respected the men as the leaders of the community. Black women did not lead Black men in those days, the MLK days, the civil rights movements and all of that. Let's examine how we got to the point of this disrespect. As time went along, as time went along, we had the Black Panther movement that sprung up. Those brothers were not disrespectful to their sisters. Can you imagine them putting together a movement? They were young in college at the time, but they were still very respectful. I believe they were in their 20s, very respectful. They did not disrespect the sisters. Yeah, man, that beef, where's that ish? And we're going to make sure these itches know their place, and all of that old crazy talk. They did not do that. They established a movement, including the Black Panther Party movement, and they included the sisters in it. And each gender had their place in the movement. The brothers provided things for the sisters to do in the movement. They did not see them as dumb, idiotic sheeps that need leaders. They're so dumb they can't go across the street without a shepherd to eat grass. if you know what I mean. Listen, some men think some women are so dumb they don't have no grass right here to eat. Let's say sheep. The sheep don't have no grass to eat, but they so dumb they can't go right across the street to eat the grass on the other side of the pavement without a male leader, without a male shepherd. Some men think women are that dumb. Sheep that need male guidance. And that's just not the case. Women are not dumb like that. In fact, they're actually super, super smart. Okay? So anyways, as I was saying, the Black Panther Party, the brothers didn't disrespect the sisters. They gave them things to do in the movement. They had their place in the movement. Do you understand? They were not disrespected by the brothers, because you know what? Let me tell you what would have happened. What would have happened? Oh, and the sisters did not try to lead the brothers, by the way. They allowed their brothers to lead. They respected their brothers and allowed them to lead. You know what would have happened if the brothers would have been disrespectful to them? It wouldn't have worked out. They would have had a movement of men, and you definitely need your women to participate to make the movement stronger. because they are intelligent and they can contribute in many different ways. Okay? So the disrespect wasn't there in our communities. And back in those days, Black women actually was so super respectful to the brothers. They did not ever try to take leadership from foundational Black American men. But we're going to talk about when let's talk about the feminist movement. Because a lot of people, they like to say foundational Black American women were feminists. And that's not the case. We're going to examine it. Foundational Black American women never jumped up and led foundational Black American men. They never done that. They were never out there pushing for any feminist movement. The YT women was pushing for they had a feminist movement. They were pushing for women's rights and so forth like that. Foundational Black American women had nothing to do with it. They chose not to participate in it. They chose not to participate in the feminist movement. Okay, so while the YT men were dealing with their women, the YT women pushing the feminist movement for women's rights and women's struggles and things like that, foundational Black American women in this country was not on that at all. They were solid and they allowed their brothers to lead, their men to lead. But we do understand in this country, laws are made for YT people, men and women. And whatever laws are made for to protect the YT women, it trickles down to the other nations of women in this country. When laws are made for the YT men, it trickles down to other nations of men. But the country itself, the governmental system is highly racist. They never make laws based on a particular nation. Like indigenous women and men, laws passed for them. African men and women, laws passed for them. Latin men and women, laws passed for them. It was always for YT men and women. Laws were established for them to protect them or to do whatever. It always trickled down to other nations in this country. But I want you to understand very clearly, foundational Black American women were never a part of YT women feminist groups. Foundational Black American women chose to be silent and allow their men to lead the community. They were not one time participants of any feminist movement in America. Remember that. There's a lot of people that like to say, oh, Black, that term Black means flat Black. Any kind of Black woman from any ethnic group was a feminist. Certainly not true. It's lies upon lies upon lies. Let's break it down here. I want to introduce to you the feminists in America. Not the YT feminists, but the feminists in America who called themselves, who identified as Black, but was not of foundational Black American ethnic group. This woman was an immigrant to the country, Caribbean immigrant to the country by the name of Shirley Chisolm. A lot of people don't know about Shirley Chisolm. She was born in America, brought back to the Caribbean, raised up a little bit there, brought back to America, attended school and so forth like that. She decided to run for president. She got into politics and so forth and decided to run for president. The family had migrated to America. They were not of America, but they came to America. In our midst, of course, because they don't go to YT people's communities. They pretty much in our communities and foundational Black American communities. And they identify as Black. So they blend in our communities, and a lot of times they are taken or mistaken as a foundational Black American person when they're not. They're immigrants to the country. So Shirley Chisholm, she was the first Black person to run for president. And because her family immigrated to this country, like a lot of other Caribbean immigrants, they did not go through the hostile, extreme, hateful conditions in this country. They didn't experience those things, lynchings and so forth. When they came, everything was paved and available. So when she ran for president, she did not concern herself with racism, as foundational Black Americans were continually fighting against. Our men in these political positions and women, our women that supported our men, everyone was fighting against racism, a structured system to keep a certain group of people or groups of people suppressed from excelling. That was our number one agenda politically, fighting racial oppression, which was to keep foundational Black Americans suppressed in this country, not allowed to thrive in this country. But again, she being a Caribbean immigrant, her and her family did not experience this. Their mindset didn't understand it, the structure of the government, because they came at a time when everything was paved and laid and were given opportunity, unlike foundational Black Americans who were citizens of the country and they can sue, they can fight back. They were not able to deport them. They had to deal with them. But immigrants were allowed to come in and given positions because at any moment they can discard them and get rid of them immediately because they were immigrants. And so she ran for president. Let's make this a little quicker. She ran for president. She was the first Black person in America to run for president. And she did not concern herself anything about racism. It was far from her because her and her people did not experience such things, okay? Her main concern was empowering women. Yes, that was her main concern. Sexism, fighting against sexism, empowering women. Black women in particular, because this is the deal. When immigrants come to this country, and that includes Black immigrants, they do not align themselves with foundational Black Americans' issues of racism because they don't have to deal with such things. They didn't have to deal with it. They don't understand it. And their mind doesn't understand it either. So when they come, they do not align themselves with foundational Black American issues as such, like racism. They don't think that's important at all because, again, they did not experience this. So they begin to get into the political field, identifying with YT people. Yes, I'm here. And yes, I want to be a part of this political structure and build towards this, and this. Racism doesn't exist in their minds. Unfairness, sure. Unequal, sure. Inequality, sure. That they see that. But it's not something that they want to focus on. Now, this lady Shirley Chisolm, as I said, her main agenda was fighting against sexism and empowering women, Black women in particular, because this is very well understood. When she began to move about in a political arena, she tried joining in with YT Feminist. They didn't have many women in the political arena, first of all. So she identified with YT women feminist movement groups. And she thought, well, I'm going to establish a Black woman feminist group as the YT women are doing, right? Because she needed somebody to look at and know what to do. There were no Black women, no foundational Black American women fighting to lead men to be in leadership positions. That wasn't happening then. There were no Black women in political arena doing such things. White women, the YT women, were not even in that political arena doing such things. They were on the sideline, garnering men to help get rights for them. They did not have intent to lead YT men. That was never their intention, to lead their men. They wanted the men to lead, but they just wanted to have rights to be able to do things. On the other hand, Shirley Chisolm, she wanted to lead the men. And that was a problem for American men, white and foundational Black American men. They didn't quite like her. She was seen as an angry woman, loud, out of place, a problem. The foundational Black American men were not pleased with her. Foundational Black American women were not pleased with her. Even though she spoke to the struggles of foundational Black American women, foundational Black American women refused to support her openly and say, yes, let's lead the men. They refused to support her openly, even though they was behind the scene. Yeah, honey, I go through that too. Yeah, that struggle. We need somebody to fight for our rights for childcare and all of that good stuff. But they dare not go out and support her in the opening to so-called lead their men. So basically, she was trying to garner a following of foundational Black American women with her feminist agenda. Yeah. But she never was able to get them to join her Black feminist movement, which was fighting against, with challenging male leadership. So she could not get foundational Black American women to join her in the feminist movement against men and take leadership over foundational Black American men. So this woman ended up in a political arena standing alone. She had no backings. She had no team because foundational Black American women refused to go along with it. They moved in silence, quietly allowing foundational Black American men to lead the way. They felt it was highly disrespectful for them to try to lead the men in those days. In the meantime, you had the YT women feminist movement establishing policies to protect them and allow them to do certain things. Those women, those feminists were not trying to lead YT men. They were not trying to take over and lead YT men. They were simply trying to get laws and policies passed and laws established to protect them and allow them to do certain things, but they never had intent to lead YT men. Another thing you must understand, America is a racially based society. And being immigrant, a lot of immigrants do not understand it. Even you see it today. Right now, today, the very same thing I'm telling you about Shirley Chisolm exists today. Immigrant groups don't understand white ideology nor white supremacy. This is what I'm saying. They think because white people invite them to stand with them, they think that that means they're invited into the house, into the organization of YT happening. Like, you can stand with us and support us, but understand you can't do it in our house. This is strictly for us. No, no, you can't. No, you can't even come in a yard. No, no, no. You have to understand. Go over there with your people and you establish a base among your people that supports us. But the immigrants wanted to have this equality with white supremacy where, hey, I'm here, I'm all about what you're talking about. Let's do it. And they show up at the organizations like Marion did. And they was like, get the hell out of here. What are you doing? Buddy, just leave. No, I'm with you guys. What are you talking about? They don't understand how it works. They don't understand that Okay, when you stand with them, it doesn't mean that you're equal with them and you're allowed into their organization. That's not what it means. It means establish a base in your community to stand with them, but you got to be over there. You're not welcome to come in the house of them because you're not one of them. They don't understand this stuff. That's what happened to Shirley Chisolm. She was like, hey, I'm down with the feminist movement. You're right. We need to take leadership. And the YT women were like, what? No, 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 we're not trying to lead our men. No, let them be men. We just want to establish some laws and stuff that we're allowed to do this, this, and this. We're not actually trying to take control of our men. Oh, why not? I think we should take control, take leadership. And the YT women did not quite identify with her. Based on that, she wanted to lead men, challenge male leadership. They were not trying to challenge male leadership with their feminist movement. They were trying to establish laws and protections to give them leeway to do certain things. So she was not allowed to go into the organization of YT Feminist, and she called them out on it constantly. I think her feelings was probably hurt because she constantly called them out on it and said, YT Feminists are racist. And she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe that they were racist. Women? How can you be racist against other women? We trying to fight for the same thing. She could not believe this. And see, that's the issue when it comes to immigrants. They don't understand what's going on in this society, especially the Black immigrants, the melanated ones. They come and they don't quite understand how white supremacy works. They don't understand these things. And so she thought that she could join them. And they politely, no, honey, no, go over there and establish a following of Black women, and you guys can support us over there. And she could not even do that. She was not successful at gathering a following of foundational Black American women to be Black feminists in America and fight against male leadership. They didn't follow suit. So she was left standing alone. She steadily called out YT feminist groups for being racist. They didn't allow her to join their organization. They, just like the Candace Owens of today, hey, you want to stand with us? Great, but not in our house. No, you can't come here. All her back talking against foundational Black American women. Oh, Charlie was her best friend and she wasn't allowed to go to his goodbye time. None of them were allowed. All the Black ones that was part of it, they were not allowed. They don't quite understand the happenings in this country. Marion being the latest, he shows up at that organization. Well, we just see the Indians just getting slapped all around. The FBI one, the other politician, they just slapping them all around like, get lost. It's embarrassing. Really is. But back to the topic. This woman was an immigrant, Caribbean immigrant, and she was all about Black feminists. That was her whole thing. Her whole agenda was Black feminists. But again, I'm going to say this again. Foundational Black American women did not fall for the okie doke. They did not go along with fighting against male leadership in their communities. They continued in silence. And even though she was like, well, Black women go through this and go through that, they were like, quietly though. Do you understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people that immigrate to this country, they get in these political arenas and they don't know the happenings here, like foundational Black Americans do. Their mindset is totally different. They're not aware of the happening. They don't quite know the setup. And they get their feelings hurt because they try to be a part of YT America inviting them to stand with them. And they come to understand that no, you're invited to stand with us, but you can't be a part of it. Yeah. Hold on, let me take a sip. So, foundational Black American women were never feminist, never took part in a feminist movement, never supported YT feminist movement. Excuse me. Yeah, they never supported YT feminist movement. They never had a Black feminist movement of foundational Black Americans in this country, Black American women in this country. That didn't exist. I think you guys got what I'm saying. Again, that was a Caribbean immigrant woman that pushed that and tried to push it on foundational Black American women who rejected it. But today you will hear people say, because this woman identified as a Black American, you will hear people say today that, oh, Black women was feminists. They had a feminist movement. Foundational Black American women had no such thing. Not at all. Not at all. So y'all see how a lot of Caribbean immigrants, they come to this country, which is majority of our people, foundational Black Americans, and fewer of them. They come to the country and they try to sway foundational Black Americans to follow their lead, especially when it comes to dealing with YT people. They try to bridge us with YT people, when in fact they don't even know the dangerous history of this country before they set foot. They just come and they're like, oh, there's so much opportunity here. just don't know what it took for those people, foundational Black Americans, to pave the way. Don't even know what it took and don't even care. Well, I'm not on that. I don't see any racism. The YT people seem to want us to join in with them. Yes, most certainly. As followers, not leaders, ever. And they don't understand that part. So they come to America and they get in front of us, cosplay us, and try to sway us to follow their lead and connect our people, bridge our people into a YT system that tells us we would never be equal to them. They don't even understand white people's mentality that you will never be equal to us as a Black person. They don't understand the get-go here. They actually believe, matter of fact, I must say, I think that they're okay with that position, to be a part of, but never be leaders of. I think they're okay with that. So that's what we have to watch out for. When it comes to Caribbeans who cosplay us and identify as foundational Black Americans, Black American, and try to sway us to and bridge us to white supremacy, to follow. Understanding we'll never be leaders, just followers. That's the position they want to put us in. That's 99% of Caribbeans that come to America and get into the political arena and all type of positions. This is their position. To bridge us to white supremacy as followers, never leaders. And we have rejected that position. Our people have rejected that position like a lot. If we were not rejecting the positions, we would have accepted their low wages and worked like dogs for pennies, as they did to the immigrant population here. We would have not been fighting for equal price, equal wages, equal this, equal that. We would have never fought for anything. But here they come, thinking that they're going to bridge us in this foolishness of being followers and immigrant minded, which is to allow them to work us for pennies. So, see, the mindset is completely different. The mindset is completely different. And I'm talking about Caribbeans and Haitians at this moment. The mindset is completely different from foundational Black Americans of this country. And that should be understood because we're of this country. They come to this country, but we're of this country, embedded in a history, our ancestors deep in their soul. So with delineation going on, we have to understand that not only do we have to recognize we don't have ties to Africa or any happenings with Africa, 95% of us don't look to go to Africa. That's Pan-Africans cosplaying as foundational Black Americans and promoting this idea of let's go to Africa. 95% of us ain't bothered with going to Africa. We don't talk about Africans. We don't bother about no continental, Africa continental. We don't care. We don't have anything to do with them except high and by. And now we realize that Pan Africans were pitting Africans against foundational Black Americans. We realize that. First, Africans were saying we're not African because we can't trace ourselves to a tribe in Africa. Then all of a sudden, we're African and we need to identify as African because they are being swayed by Pan Africans. That's why you hear them, and majority of them are not participating with Pan Africanism. It's just a good bit of them, but not a whole lot of them. And they are being swayed by Pan Africans, which is Caribbeans, disguised as foundational Black Americans, aka Black Americans. Okay? These people are bridge people, Pan Africans who cosplay foundational Black Americans, aka Black Americans, and try to sway us to white America. Or I told you they come from different angles, try to sway us to be Africanized, different angles. So they're working at the Africans right now, swaying them left to right, pitting them against foundational Black Americans. When Africans, in fact, know that we're not them and they're not us, they know this. You have to ask yourself, why do you consist on targeting foundational Black Americans with your bullshit about we need to identify as Africans when you know we're not? Because they are being swayed by Pan Africans. We, foundational Black Americans, were swayed from the left to the right by them at one point as well. Pan Africans, which is Caribbeans, swayed us too. Told us we need to accept our African identity. Stop claiming that we're an admixture. We're not really removed from Africa. We still 90% African. All this BS, okay? We're all the same people, flat black. You see one melanated people, you see all. We're all the same. We don't have no ethnic roots. We just one people. How dumb. This is Pan-African Caribbean. Many of them cosplay as foundational Black Americans, as AKA Black Americans. Because a lot of them are born here in America, first and second, third generation of immigrant. And they come into our mix and push this Pan-African stuff onto us, trying to get us to participate in erasing, like Umar, erasing our own identity and culture and heritage. Like, really? What foundational Black American male or woman wants to erase their own cultural identity, lineage, heritage to take on African identity? That I can't accept you as a foundational Black American. I truly don't believe you are. if you're moving like that. Okay. But again, a lot of times we don't know because a lot of them are first, second, third generation of immigrants here, cosplaying foundational Black Americans and AKA Black Americans. They usually are Caribbean immigrants or have Caribbean ties, like wives, children, husbands, and they fight for this flat black or um, Pan African stuff. But let me tell you the issue. The whole issue, the whole issue is to get foundational Black Americans to give up their identity, culture, history, and heritage. That's what Pan Africans intent. That is their intent towards foundational Black Americans. That is how they're going to blend with us by doing such, trying to get us to give up who our identity and who we are. Okay. So I wanted you guys to know, I'm going to go back into the conversation of feminists because I wanted you to understand foundational Black American women were never feminists in this country. They did not support feminist movements in this country. That was a woman by the name of Shirley Chisolm, who was a Caribbean woman. She tried to get foundational Black American women to challenge male leadership, not just with Black men, but white ones too. And our sisters kindly declined. So she was left in a political arena without any support, not from YT women feminists, nor from foundational Black Americans. And they used her as a token Black person in Congress. They let her be a symbol of diversity, but they never allowed her to participate in anything, no meetings, anything they were holding in Congress. And so far, the lady was not invited. They let her speak for a minute. She was never taken seriously. So they let her remain as a symbol of, hey, we got a Black person over there, but you're really not invited to partake. Many times she fought against them leaving her out. And she might have garnered support from one or two of the Congress members, and they said, hey, okay, yeah, let us speak. But again, she was never taken serious. Can you imagine back in those days? I mean, look at right now today. It is hard for a woman to get to become a president of America. That's not easy. That's not an easy feat. Not even for a YT woman. That's not an easy thing. She was doing it in a time when women were not at all to dare challenge male leadership. And she was all alone because the YT Feminist group was not moving like that. They were like, no, we're not trying to challenge male leadership. We just over here trying to get some policies, the laws kicked in for us to be able to do certain things. But they were like, no, honey, we're not trying to take control and lead. And like I said, the foundational Black American women was like, I don't think so. I find that very disrespectful. Matter of fact, we're not doing that, honey. She was in it all by herself. Must have been pretty lonely. Yeah. So I wanted you guys to know that. Foundational Black American women were never feminists in this country. We respected our brothers. And let's go deeper into this history. At some point, the feminists, they begin to be able to work certain jobs and go to school and things like that. And eventually, the laws that were passed on behalf of, established on behalf of YT women, trickled down to other nations of women in this country. So that's how we got a lot of women protection laws and so forth, because YT feminists fought for those laws to be passed. It was not the workings of foundational Black American women as feminists fighting YT men for laws of protection and certain policies so we can do certain things in this country. Our women, that wasn't our women. Our women did not challenge male leadership. If anything, our women, foundational Black American women, allowed their men to do such things. I'm getting to the point of how it got to the point of women, Black women, having positions in the working industry given to them above foundational Black American men. So as time went by, the feminists had gained some momentum and they got a lot of openings for jobs and women's rights. Like you had to hire women and stuff like that, right? They had a lot of women rights passed and laws passed, and then at the same time you had all these civil rights movements and stuff like that happening where people were fighting for certain things, and they all attached to each other, and the government had to respond because it was different groups of people coming together at once, like a mob. So the government had to respond. And so companies had to hire a certain amount of women. They had to hire a certain amount of Black people. They had to have a diverse profile for their company. That was the law of America. They were like, okay, we got to make it where, these people have some rights, because we granted YT women rights. So we have to make it where these people have some rights to have meaningful gain. And so, again, they had to have a certain amount of diversity in a company when it came to women, Black men, I'm quite sure indigenous. They had to have diversity. Diversity became the face of America. Okay? And so they had to have diversity in your company, or your company wasn't going to get contracts and all that old kind of stuff. Okay? You wasn't going to be promoted. And so that's how the women got into the job market, and Black women got into the job market along with white women because of all the movements coming together. And that was the result of it. Now, let me take it a step further. In the working arena, our men was there in the working arena, corporate, with YT people, of course. And they were in corporate America with working with YT people. And sometimes people think because you're invited in, you're welcome to the eating. And that's not how it goes. Like I told you, Caribbeans come here and they don't understand that some of our people, foundational Black Americans, they didn't quite understand it either. Because when they got into corporate, working alongside YT people, um, they established some law of conduct in the workplace. Because you had foundational Black American men and other ethnic groups of men working in corporate with YT women that was now working in corporate because they had laws passed that allowed them to work in corporate. And they were flirting with these women. It made for an uncomfortable situation. In this country, we know it's race-based. And it's very disrespectful for these type of men to be coming on to these type of women in the workplace. So there was laws established. No dating at the, you can't work for the company and date. You can't work for the company and be married. None of that. And you cannot flirt with anybody at the company. This was an issue because when people come in contact with each other, they just hook up to hook up. It is what it is. So to keep these people apart, they established these laws, but the laws didn't hold back. Many women who was being flirted with began to sue companies for sexual harassment. So when the women entered the work field, it was something else. It was very different. Okay. A lot of Black men were already in those corporate companies in low positions at that time. But as time progressed, they allowed the women to come in and work administrative positions and so forth. But the contact was different. You now have women working at companies with men. And it was hard to keep them apart. People are attracted to each other. Um, Men and women, they were going to be attracted to each other regardless of their race. So they had to create these laws to keep them apart. If you work for this company, y'all can't mess around with each other. Okay? We find out, you will be fired. And so anyway, like I said, a lot of women begin to file sexual harassment cases and stuff like that because they were constantly being flirted with at the company and it felt uncomfortable and stuff like that. You know how men was back in the days. They pursued and they continued to pursue until the woman gave in. It was a very uncomfortable situation for women. And at this time, they also had um, not as many Black women in corporate, but they had a few. And here is how it changed up. 1 second. It changed up because to get Black men out of the office, away from YT women, who was likely attracted to them too. They were probably attracted to each other, okay? But to get the Black men out of the office, they needed to hire a certain amount of women and a certain amount of Black people. So, hey, to get rid of a lot of Black men, all they had to do was hire a lot of Black women because now you have women plus they're Black. You see? So they were able to get rid of a lot of black men out of corporate based on that. They pulled in the black woman, which means they got a certain amount of women there, and those women are black. Boom. They were able to dismiss the black men away from their women. Yeah. They didn't have to worry about them trying to get with their women. They were happy to give black women the positions. Black women were excited. That is where the issue came in with foundation of black American men and foundation of black American women. Okay. The black man, foundation of black American man, felt as though his women were allowing themselves to be used by white supremacy against them. And that's where our people had issues come in the map. But foundational black American women were never feminists. They were offered the jobs as they exited black men. They welcomed the black women, and the black women ran and took the job up. I guess they didn't want the women to take the job positions. I don't know, you know. But that's where our people's issue came in. But again, I want you to know, foundational black American women were never feminists. They never challenged male leadership, not foundational black American women. Okay, we respected male leadership. So there's a video. I wish I could have played it for you guys. I tried to get on my computer and do this stream because I really wanted to share the videos with you. You can look the videos up yourself where black men, foundational black American men and women were having these discussions about YT supremacist groups using foundational black American women as a weapon against the foundational black American men by giving the women the jobs and keeping out foundational black American men. That is where the issue started with our people, between our men and women. But we still never really gender banged. That came from others who came in our midst and said, well, okay. So I had brought that topic about because I wanted it to be very clearly understood. Foundational black American women never challenged male leadership of their communities. That was Pan-Africans, Pan-African feminists in America, not of America, but came to America, identifying because they're born here as first and second and third generation of people, identifying as a Black American. So I be hearing a lot of these panels that, well, you can't say somebody's a tether and you don't know for sure. Listen, when you make it make sense, it is what it is. You have to question things. I spoke on Godfrey. Matter of fact, when I spoke on Godfrey, a Nigerian immigrant, matter of fact, the first thing I said was, I like Godfrey. I think he's funny. But I pinpointed the fact that he's a Pan-Africanist and he's slick with it. because I wish I could show you the video. He made a statement on a video. He was being interviewed by somebody, and he said, because he talked real slick with it, right? You got to catch on. He said, I'm Nigerian. Well, no, first of all, he was talking about all the inventions of foundational Black Americans. And he was like, yeah, because a Black woman invented this, a Black man invented that, a Black person invented, so forth like that. Then he was like, I'm Nigerian, but I'm born and raised in America. So I can speak on these things. Okay. So you can speak on foundational Black American heritage, history, culture, and identity as a representation, as a representative of us, even though you say you're Nigerian, born in America. But you can speak because you're born in America. You can speak as a representation, a representative of foundational Black Americans. That's what he said. I'm Nigerian, but I'm born and raised in America, and I can speak about this, about foundational Black American, because he felt he's not disrespectful. He only say good things about foundational Black American. So he has the right to speak. And he feels he's knowledgeable about our culture because he was born and raised here. So he feels he can speak as a representative, of foundational Black American. That I disagree with, but let's carry on. He continued to speak and he says, yeah, because we built everything in America. 95% of everything. That's what I say, right? That's what he said. He said, because we built everything in this country. So his parents immigrated here, came here when he was a kid, I believe. No, he was born here. So his parents came here from somewhere else, Nigeria. He was born in America and raised up in America. And even though he acknowledges that he's a Nigerian American, but he was born in America and he feels that he has every right to speak on foundational Black American lineage, history, identity, and culture. And then he went on to say, we invented everything. Black people, we invented everything. He went on to say, us Blacks invented everything. That includes him. He's a Nigerian American. His family migrated here from somewhere else. So basically, he was including Nigerians into foundational Black American lineage and culture, and speaking as they are all flat Black, one group. We Black people invented everything in America. Baby, you gotta have listening skills to catch it. All right? You gotta have listening skills. Some of you're still pretty young, wet behind the ears, and you don't have good listening skills. Matter of fact, you're just easily duped by a smile, by someone saying something nice. Just because somebody say nice things doesn't mean anything. Just because somebody smile at you doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of Black Lives Matter signs all over the place, every which way you turn. Hold on a second. There's a lot of Black Lives Matter signs all over the place, every which way you turn. But I can guarantee you, they have no respect for Black life. In fact, let me break it down to you real quick because some people slow to catch stuff. I don't know if maybe, I think a lot of people don't have good listening skills. Let me break it down to you real quick. So, as we know, Black Lives Matter organization was sold off to a Jew person. They say a Jew guy. I forgot the name. He took that organization and turned it into an international organization. So now you have Black Lives and every Black Lives Matters protesters in every country out there. You can Google this and see that Black Lives Matter protesters, they're in just about all the dang on countries around. And it doesn't really mean they support Black lives. It's something that was sold off so that maybe I'm thinking it can replace the Antifa protesters. So when they want to go out and act it up, they can fly their Black Lives Matter banners. So it can seem like it's Black people. Catch on, baby. Just because somebody smiles at you means nothing. Just because somebody says something good means nothing. They can be twisting stuff up like I just broke it down for you. Did you get it? Rewind the stream. Listen to it a few times. You'll catch it. Just because they're using your banners, your organization banner called Black Lives Matter, doesn't actually mean they respect Black lives. You're freaking nut. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Who gave our young people the microphone? Whoever gave them the microphone, please take it back. I think that what is really brought our culture down, the fact that somebody handed our young people the microphone and they started saying and rapping foolery because they're young. They're not mature minded people yet. They're young bucks. Bucket. You know what I mean? They ain't a bucking stage. They're not tamed yet. They're not fully trained. I saw a video of Bun B today, and he was talking about the same thing. He was like, we need old school rappers to come back more than anything today. Because the rappers of today, that drill music and stuff, woo, he's like, what the crap is going on? Bun B, look it up. He was like, we need to take back the mic and make sense of this stuff. We have things we still need to say. Listen. They duping our young people. They're making a lot of money off of them. They paid them millions, but they make even more millions off them. They pay them, and people say, oh, that's your culture. No, sweetheart. First, I want to make this understood. They're not only paying foundational Black American young people to make this terrible music and drill stuff and all of that, but they're also paying immigrant children in this country as well. No, 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 babe. Foundational Black Americans are not paying your children anything. They're not paying their own children to make that kind of junk, nor are they paying immigrant children. That is not our hand at work. The people that is paying these young people to make such stuff, music, they call it music, they're making a whole lot more money off of them. And again, it is not just foundational Black American youth that they are paying to do this. It is immigrant youth as well. Yeah. And so I agree with Bun B. We definitely need to get the mic out of the young people's hands. They're paying our young ladies all of this money to do those things that they're doing on stage and get big booties and breasts and all of that stuff. All right. They're young bucks. They don't quite know how to be elegant and conduct themselves right now because they are young bucks. And some people get a hold of them and offer them millions upon millions of dollars to buck out on stage, and there you have it. It would be a pretty hard thing to gain control over anyhow, to step in front of these young people and be like, hey baby, don't you shake your ass to the audience for $40 million. Hey baby, don't you get BBLs and big tits or whatever and shake them in front of the audience for $40 million. I mean, oh my gosh. Don't sing about this or rap about this for $40 million. It's not an easy thing to take away from a young person. Okay. But foundational Black Americans are not in support of that. We did not start world hip hop. Foundational Black Americans did not start these ratchet reality TV shows. That's a Haitian sister too. Our TV shows didn't reflect that. Okay. All right. We had Anderson. What is his name? He started the TV show Blackish. Our people do stuff like that. We don't be out here coming up with super ratchet TV shows and telling our kids to rap drill and all that kind of stuff that y'all be talking about. That's our culture. No, that's not our culture. We did not sign our children up, our young people, to do such things. Cut it out. And your children is right here in this country being offered to do it as well. And then many of them have signed up. So cut it out. Um it's not just foundational Black American youth. Okay. So I agree with Bun B. Oh my goodness. I'm like, oh my gosh. Somebody take the mic. Give me a second. Let me take a sip. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap it up. um, you cannot build if you disrespect your women. I'm not talking to cosplaying Black Americans, foundational Black American. I'm not talking about immigrants that cosplay us, but I'm talking directly to foundational Black American people, men, if you want to build, you cannot disrespect your women. You must learn without respect, you have nothing. Respect must be at the top, the very top of the pyramid. Without respect for your women, you have nothing. When you respect your women, they will fall in place naturally. So, the Big Cheese S3E says Africans don't practice Pan Africanism. I didn't say they practice Pan Africanism, but what I did say was that um, Pan Africans are Caribbeans that cosplay foundational Black Americans, aka Black Americans, and they are swayed. Africans are swayed by Pan Africans to follow along with their lead by they pit them against foundational Black Americans by saying, um, by pushing them, promoting them to demand that we identify as Africans and Africanize ourselves and participate in erasure of our own unique culture in this country because we're not Africans. And then I've also said Pan Africans swayed foundational Black Americans as well at one point, and they come from different angles too. Ooh, they come from different angles. They swayed us to take on an African identity some time ago. And we were all like, oh, we African, we African. And we backed off and said, wait a minute. Not all of us, but a good bit of our people was on that. And we backed off and was like, wait a minute, hold the F on. Then they were like, you 90% African. They come from different angles, trying to get us to put on an African cloth and not identify as foundational Black Americans. They try to Africanize everybody. Okay? So they swaying foundational Black Americans and they swaying Africans. Foundational Black Americans, no longer. We have stumped them out. They get no respect before us. Africans need to do the same. They have Africans thinking the only way you can build your country is to beg foundational Black American people to come to Africa and build it. Oh my goodness. Oh, really? There is too much tribal infighting in African countries, and they bring that tribal infighting to the United States. Of course. Of course. And that's what foundational Black Americans speak truth to. We can't be one because you're not even one in your own country. But again, this is Pan Africans swaying Africans and swaying foundational Black Americans. But again, foundational Black Americans are no longer allowing it to happen. I just heard Umar say, we will not allow foundational Black Americans to stomp out Pan Africanism. It's too late for that, brother. We definitely not hearing anything about Pan Africanism. So your support is going to come from Africans somewhere. I think Africans is on their butt too now. The Africans is kind of like, wait a minute, you're right. They were swaying us. We know very well you guys aren't Africans because you can't trace yourself back to an African village. But they told us we can get you to come to our countries and build it up and get rid of you later. Even Europeans have African DNA. Exactly. I was saying that today. I was like, just about everybody have African lineage, even Europeans. Now, some people, some YT people, they will admit that somewhere down the line they have a black ancestor. They will admit. Some won't, but they know that it does exist. And you're right about that. Yep. Africa ain't popping. Too much. Let me move this out the way. Africa ain't popping. Too much government corruption, scamming, and lying. Very much. Very much. But the thing is, Pan Africans. Pan Africans are the issue. Pan Africans are swinging Africans. All that stuff you see them doing online, all this crazy talk. It's a lot of Pan Africans pitting Africans against foundational Black Americans. And at one point, they pit us against Africans. We're no longer having discussions with Pan Africans about erasing our unique lineage to Africanize ourselves, to put on the African cloth. We're no longer dealing with them. I just did this stream to make it understood that they say foundational Black American women were feminists. No, we were never feminists. That was a Pan African woman, a Caribbean immigrant, who tried to get foundational Black American women to become feminists, and they declined. They declined. So again, Pan Africans are Caribbeans that cosplay foundational Black Americans, aka Black Americans. A lot of them are first, second, and third generation of immigrants, and we can't tell where they come from because they've been born and raised among us until we find out that, okay. See what I'm saying? We find out that, okay, we see. So they come into our culture and blend in and act friendly, but they are never a part of our agenda. They have their own agenda in this country to bridge us to white supremacy. And they know very well when it comes to white supremacy, we will only be followers, never leaders, never equal. And that's what they try to do. They try to sway our people. You know, they just people that come and sway people. They try to move the crowd. The FBA family delineation movement has non-FBA groups. YT folks are triggered because of the FBA code of conduct. Well, now, hold on. I don't know what I did with my comments. Okay, so you said the FBA family delineation movement has non-FBA groups. They have non-FBA groups? YT folks are triggered because of the FBA code of conduct. What do you mean they have the Foundation of Black American Delineation Movement has non-FBA groups? What that mean? You say allies, but who are the allies of Foundation of Black American Delineation Movement? They don't like to call it a movement, by the way. Like Tariq is like, oh, it's just it's just a lineage. I'm waiting for your answer. Who are the non-FBA groups? The FBA Family Delineation Movement has non-FBA groups. I don't know who that is. See, let me explain something to you. If they were to respect the lineage Foundation of Black American Lineage, Culture, History, and Heritage, and try to build with us from that point, respecting our boundary, our gatekeeping, and build with us from that point, then it could be something. But they're not trying to build with us from that point. They're trying to get us to erase our lineage, our history, our identity of this country. It doesn't even make any sense. You can't request somebody erase their lineage to fit in with you. It's nonsense. Okay, so non FBA groups are Mexicans, Africans, and Asians. Are you saying they support, are they a part of delineation movement, FBA delineation movement? Because you say they have non FBA groups. So basically, you're saying they're a part of the FBA delineation movement? Yeah, if they were coming on a respectful tip where we understand foundational Black American gatekeeping and delineation purposes to maintain their Black excellence and Black progression in America, they want to have their own base. We respect that, but let's continue to work together. It would work out. But the disrespect and stuff like that, they kind of show their positions. And I'm gonna do another stream on this because I walk through some history of Pan Africans in the country, and they are clearly not about foundational Black American excellence and progress in this country. They actually work against it. So you say the big cheese say yes. Foundational Black American is separate. One second. You say yes. Foundational Black American. Yes, Foundational Black American is separated from all non FBA groups. We are only looking out for ourselves. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Non FBA groups, people that's not FBA. Right, right. I agree with that. I think I misunderstood your first comment. The FBA family delineation movement has non FBA groups. YT folks up. Yeah, so that's right. We got to look out for ourselves because that's what they do when they come to this country. Their agendas is based on, what suits them, what their needs and necessities are in this country. It's I did a walk through history with examining Pan Africans, the ones that was in the political industry and different industries, and they never was here to work with foundational Black Americans, but they work towards achieving goals with YT people. That was always their history. I was surprised. I'm like, all you have to do is take a walk through history and examine all of their contributors in America, like political people and stuff like that. It'll be clearly seen. The FBA family has leverage, power by crashing Kamala Harris' campaign, Essence Festival, Burna Boy, Tyler, and Barack Obama. Oh yeah. Yes, indeed. Listen, it is gonna be a respected lineage group or ethnic group or ethnicity is going to be respected. And I believe that Black immigrants in particular cannot stand it. Ooh, they can no longer come in and cosplay us. Mm. Like I was saying about Godfrey, I say I like him, but he will say that he's non-FBA, he's Nigerian. But then when he's talking, he'll be talking and he'll be like, yeah, because a black woman invented this, a black man invented that. Black people invented everything. We invented everything in America. I'm like, hold on, you're Nigerian American. You're not foundational Black American. So that's his slick way, his Pan African slickness. He spent it like he is grouped them with us as a Nigerian American, which means other Nigerian Americans are grouped in with us as well. And Caribbeans, we're all flat Black, meaning, oh, Black people. He's a Pan Africanist, unspoken Pan Africanist, but his talking points clearly he believes in flat Blackness. Okay, he's slick with it. The FBA family is the greatest Black nation in the entire world. Ooh, look at you. You said the entire world. And we have a history of resistance against white supremacy and never flee like cowards to foreign countries. Wow. That is true. And yes, our people are brilliant. Brilliant. They don't live in lies, I can tell you that. Our people never destroyed people's communities and put lakes on top of them, bombed them out of jealousy. Our people never did any of those things. Our people made so many inventions in this country concerning the boats and airplane propellers and everything that they never got credit for. They stole a bunch of the inventions. I mean, come on, everybody knows. But some people gonna live in a lie. Those white tea people gonna live in a lie where they say, you didn't invent this, you didn't invent that. Time will tell. Yes, we are very much. I'll tell you one thing. They are very much upset the fact that foundational Black Americans have made our culture the face of America. They don't like it. I heard one of those people talking at Turning Point USA, and they say, we have to get rid of this culture, this Black culture in our country. They don't like the fact that our culture is a representation of America. Yeah. Okay, so you say these non-FBA groups, especially Africa, are very jealous of FBA. Oh yeah. Oh, the Caribbeans too. Yeah, Caribbeans too. Unfortunately, when they come, they have that same uh hidden dislike. And they quick to join forces with YT people, thinking that they're gonna be considered equal. But then they get their wake up call that, oh, I thought you said we can be one and fight against such and such, but they just don't understand the game. Somalians, Fall Guy, Nigerians, the tech hub in Nigeria is started by YT people who put a lot of business names in African Nigerian names. And then they control the people to do all kinds of things. That's why you have a lot of scams popping up, and it's tracing back to Nigeria because Nigeria have a tech hub that was invested by a bunch of YT men who control the Nigerian tech hub. And so they can get them to do whatever because they control the tech hub, even though it's in those people's name. They don't know. Oof. They don't know the game. I think they just don't know the game. They think that foundational Black Americans don't know the game. Oh, but we do. And so they get to running and snatching up like, oh yeah, we down. I'm down with it. Yeah. And they don't know they're going to be played to the left eventually. Yeah. Yep. So I'm at the 2 hour mark. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be going live. I'll be live streaming again later. Thank you for tuning in. I enjoyed your conversation, your chat, your input at the Big Cheese. Thank you for tuning in. Good night, and let me know what you think about the commentary in the channel. I mean, let me know what you think about the commentary, and hit the thumbs up button. I'm getting sleepy. Good night.